Welcome back on this Thursday. Glad you're joining us again. We're getting close to wrapping up this book of 1 Corinthians. When we are done, we're going to go back to the Old Testament for a little bit, to the book of Proverbs for a few weeks as we lead up to Advent, when we will start looking at the book of Luke. But we'll be looking at Proverbs, the first 9 or 10 chapters, going through that before we get to those individual proverbs. And what we might do now and then is just throw in a little proverb every now and then as we're going through the rest of the books, other books, just to help us stay in the practice of what these proverbs are, what they are about, and to remember the wisdom that God gives to us through them. But today we are starting 1 Corinthians chapter 16. Let's look at the first 11 verses, but let's start with the first 4. Now, concerning the collection for the saints, as I directed the church in Galatia, so you are also to do. On the first day of the week, each of you is to put something aside and store it up, as he may prosper, so that there will be no collecting when I come. And when I arrive, I will send those whom you accredit by letter to carry your gift to Jerusalem. If it seems advisable that I should go also, they will accompany me. Looking at this part, the collection for the saints is the church in Jerusalem. The early Christians that started the church, they are going through a time of persecution. And looking at other books, especially 2 Corinthians, it talks about them having a time of famine as well. So they are gathering that collection for them so that they might be fed, so that they might be cared for. Remembering that it was the church in Jerusalem that really started this whole thing with Christianity, right? That's where it started and spread from there. So they were like the mother church. And notice how Paul really shows the care for those gifts that would be brought. That he would send a letter with those who are bringing it to state where it came. He would go with them if that's what they wanted, all in good order. He wasn't going to take it, but he was going to let them be the ones responsible for that. Let's move on now, verses 5 through 9. I will visit you after passing through Macedonia, for I intend to pass through Macedonia, and perhaps I will stay with you or even spend the winter, so that you may help me on my journey wherever I go. For I do not want to see you now just in passing. I hope to spend some time with you if the Lord permits. But I will stay in Ephesus until Pentecost, for a wide door for effective work has opened for me, and there are many adversaries. He's focusing on that future visit that he will return and pass through, which would become his third mission journey. He wants to stay and remain there longer, as he does for about 3 months, we see. The third journey is in Acts chapter 20. If you want to read back and be refreshed about this, some of his time in Ephesus we can read about in Acts chapter 19. Notice that he says, doors are open, but the adversaries are many. Whenever there seems to be an outpouring and strengthening of the gospel, the evil one is there as well to try to tear it down and try to stop God's work from happening. All right, now we're going to wrap up with verses 10 and 11. When Timothy comes, see that you put him at ease among you, for he is doing the work of the Lord as I am. So let no one despise him. Help him on his way in peace, that he may return to me, for I am expecting him with the brothers. He's really paving the way now for Timothy to come and visit them. Timothy is younger. He seems to be a little less certain about himself when visiting others, as we read in other parts, but Paul is paving the way for him. He is a good worker, fellow worker of the Lord with Paul, And Paul now is sharing Timothy with them, whom they know, making sure that they see that Timothy carries his authority also. That's all that I have as we wrap up tomorrow again with the rest of 1 Corinthians 16. Until then, God bless and keep you in his care always. Amen.